Hey, how you fine folks doing? We're gonna jump into it in a second here. Coming out for the first time in what feels like forever, because I'm in the middle of a moving place I've been to before. We're gonna go see if we can check out a couple species I haven't talked about that grow here. But I just wanted to show you this massive, impressive Oenothera specimen. Not sure, could be perennis, could be biennis. Quite a few species in the genus Onagraceae family. I'm actually going to go down to the Cape to check out a different genus in this family. Evening-primrose family smells delightful. Got to show it to you now because by the time the sun comes out in another half hour, 45 minutes, all these flowers will be closed. Evening primrose, they come out at night, largely pollinated by moths, and they've got those cool, I believe they're called viscid thread pollen, so almost like a filamentous pollen that it produces. Really cool plants. Some of them are annual, some of them are what do you call it? Not an annual, biannual. They grow for 2 years, and then I guess some of them are perennial. But that thing's just about as tall as I am, and just smells absolutely intoxicating. So we'll go see what else is going on. Okay, we did find our target species a little ways back. Wasn't in full bloom, but the buds were out. You can see what's going on. So we'll go check that out in a second. But first, I just got to give a little shout out to the Cephalotus occidentalis, to the button bush. Still blooming, still going strong. Probably my favorite native member of the family, Rubiaceae, the coffee family. And just one that is, an absolute powerhouse for pollinators this time of year. You can see there's some cool guy, I don't know if you can see, some cool guy on the other side of this hanging around, visiting the flower. Oh, he just took off. Little fruits, little pom-pom fruits starting to mature on the thing. Not a small plant by any stretch of the imagination. They get huge and they're pretty dominant over here in this area. Little, four-petaled flower if you were to actually get down there and pull one of those tiny individual florets out. But yeah, that's a member of the coffee family. Does this one smell? I forget, do these smell good? Oh, they do smell pretty good. There's one still in bud there. Usually these guys are peaking, you come through here in July and the entire place is lit up with them. The only ones in bloom right now are just some of the stragglers. So great plant to have for pollinators. Tons of stuff, tons of things will make use of the leaves. Lay a little gall in there. Nice shiny leaves. I can never get it right if these are opposite alternate world. They kind of vary a little bit. Typically coffee family, you expect opposite leaves. These have whorls of leaves, so really interesting plant. I am kicking myself that I've just been slacking on the plant spotlights because I've been busy. They'll come back into rotation. I just haven't had time. You have to have kind of free time to go out and just do, one species. Takes a little bit of patience, but we'll write ourselves, next year. This year, I got a surplus of April and May content in, which I historically have not done. And this year, there's going to be pretty much a gap for July, which would be, I was hoping to get to see Platanthera's stuff, but, you're watching this in the future, so I did get some Platanthera stuff in, late June, a couple species I've never seen before, but I digress. Maybe it was a good thing to take a break from the orchids for a little bit, so anyway. Cephalotus occidentalis, great plant, native to pretty much all of the East Coast, and one that you could absolutely, get and plant in your garden at home. Oh yeah, you want to talk about good stuff to plant in your garden at home. It doesn't get much better than Asclepias incarnata. This is the swamp milkweed. Asclepias syriaca is the common milkweed. These are probably the two most common species. Those are probably the two most common species you get, at least in New England. So syriaca likes it, that thing will come up through a sidewalk in the middle of the city. Incarnata is a little bit more picky, needs a little bit more water, has, in my opinion, the prettier of the two flowers and makes something more akin to an umbel than less like a lobose umbel. They both make umbels, but still, surprises is still blooming. Syriaca usually wraps up mid-June. Entire thing's covered in, honeybees, but what look like some cool wasps, what look like some native bees. Great plant to have around. Smells delightful too. Let's take a whiff. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Not as strong as Syriaca. I mean, Syriaca in peak bloom smells damn near intoxicating, but you can see this guy's getting all sorts of traffic. So, Asclepias incarnata, swamp milkweed. Let's stop teasing it enough and go look at our two actual target species, because I can talk about all the other cool stuff that grows here all damn day long. Okay, so it was a bit of a pain in the ass to actually find the thing. After I had found it once, I walked by it looking for more stuff, and then I lost it, as one does. So what you're looking at here is a really cool sunflower vine. This is Mikania scandens. This is the climbing hemp vine, is the common name, and this is one that I tracked down because of the tribe that it's in. This is in the Joe-pye tribe, if you can believe it or not. I'll turn around in a second. I'll show you like a Joe-pye weed that's growing here. Same tribe, just different genus. So Mikania scandens is at the absolute northern limit of its range here in New England. You can see it goes pretty far back there. All those little tufts, those are all the emerging inflorescences, and yada yada yada. It's at the very northern extent of its range here in southern New England. If one were to go south, they'd find that this is quite prevalent down in the southeast. I think you get it in Mexico, you get it in South America. In fact, it's invasive. It's a pretty obnoxious invasive in a lot of subtropical regions, tropical regions of the world. However, here it is native, and it's not exactly common either. Those two leaves there with the long sort of petioles there, it does have opposite leaves at the node, as you would expect a Jope to have. There's that leaf right there. Triangle shaped, very interesting. Let's see if I can get a better zoom in on the flowers. Yeah, not out yet, but only a handful of florets in each one of those capitula. Got to remember, sunflower family, each little head here is going to pop open with probably only maybe half a dozen flowers, if that. And then Joe-pye is super notable because they'll have really, really long styles spilling out, which I can better illustrate by showing you Desmodium. So this thing is just vining all back through here. I don't know if you can make that out back there, but there's one just climbing through this tall grass, this typha, cattail. You can see there's the seed head on the cattail that got knocked down by this thing. And just really interesting, Joe-pye. I'm fascinated by that tribe just because they, number one, they usually look cool and are really beneficial plants. You also get a narrow endemic Joe-pye, nova Anglii, the genus for which the whole tribe is named after, grows down. It's a narrow endemic to a couple sites in Massachusetts and one in Rhode Island. So, and then Joe-pye weed, of course, Teucrium is in there. I think Agaritina is in there. So lots of cool, really, really beneficial plants. I think there's a butterfly that hosts on this. I'll post that if that's true or not. Of course, the flowers aren't open yet, so nothing's really going to be hitting this. But I'll come back. I'll get a picture of what the open inflorescence looks like, or I'll find one. It's not anything too remarkable. Just a vining sunflower. Always love weird habits on familiar lineages. That's also a Jope. I think this is the only other genus of Jope. Teucrium, Joe-pye. Oh, Liatris. So Liatris nova Anglii. So we have an endemic, an endemic Liatris too, is in that. Agaritina, I believe is, but that could also be, I could be mistaken. Agaritina could be in its own thing. I think that's a, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I'll put down there whatever Agaritina is, but definitely Joe-pye, definitely Teucrium, definitely Liatris, and definitely Mikania. Mikania scandens. Kind of hard to see what the phyllaries look like on this thing, huh? Let's pull this over. Let's see. Not really discernible. Fairly simple. I think those are maybe just even uniseriate. Entire thing. Is it covered in a pubescence? I can't really tell. But I like the two little leaves that it puts out right below its inflorescence. That's a cool one. And again, opposite leaves. Pretty much every single Jope is going to have two things in common. A really, really long style, which we can't see right now on this specimen, and opposite or whorled leaves. So, that was a cool one. Not rare, but not exactly common, at least not up here in New England. You down south, I got buddies down in Georgia, and this thing's popping out, you know, early spring. Up here, you gotta wait almost until, you know, September. This will be in full bloom. Maybe we'll just come back and we'll just get some bonus footage of it. Yeah, but you can see walking by how that's somewhat, you know, easy to miss. So let me go show you what a Eupatorium looks like. And actually, what the hell? Here's the Eupatorium up over here. These big guys. We'll go walk down over. Sorry, not Eupatorium, Eutrochium. These are Joe-pye weeds right here. I think this is Eutrochium dubium. So this is that coastal plain Joe-pye weed. This is the one that I've got growing, and you'll see this guy who is in full bloom. All those little white parts, those are all the elongated styles. Each one of those is poking out of a specific floret. And I mean, the flower heads on these things just get absolutely ludicrous. That one's 8 feet tall, for Christ's sake. Why aren't more people planting these beautiful plants? And then, of course, you can see, just like that Mikania, well, not just like the Mikania, but similar to, whorled leaves with subsequent flower heads emerging from the nodes. A not too distant cousin from Mikania, Eutrochium dubium. You get, of course, you get maculatum, you get Afropurpureum, you get a couple Eutrochium species in New England. All Eutrochiums are restricted to the eastern half of North America. I'm not sure about Mexico, they might just be in the US and Canada. Joe-pye weeds. Really popular ornamentals overseas, cut down by weed whackers here in New England for some stupid reason, I'm not sure. But same tribe as that Mikania. One of my favorite tribes in that entire giant sunflower family. And yeah, look at the bees going to town on this thing. Just a great plant to have around. I think I lost my train of thought. That's okay. So I only actually wanted to show you one other thing here. Of course, there's some good stuff to see on the way there. Go look at a warm weather birch, and then we'll probably call it a day. I'll point out a couple nice things that I've already covered on the way there. Yeah, see, that's nice. That's nice. You've got the Mikania scandens growing back there, right in front of the Eutrochium. God, I got to get it together. Ooh, I'm looking over in the distance. I got no way to get down over there, but there's some cardinal flower growing right back there. That'd be cool to check out if we can. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll see if we can get down over there. There's got to be a way. Anywho, that's just, yeah, Eutrochium and the Mikania growing together there. Okay, speaking of cool vining things, this has been absolutely everywhere here, to the point that I was actually thinking it was invasive, but it's not. We have what I believe is our only native member of the family Cucurbitaceae here, our only native member of the cucumber squash melon family, Echinocystis lobata. This is the wild cucumber, and the fruits on these things are not palatable or edible. They're just you know, spiky little mealy capsules basically. However, it's blooming right now, so no fruits on the thing. I couldn't figure out what this was at first. I thought it was maybe an ivy, but sure enough, if you actually look, those are, you know, cucurbitaceous flowers, presumably monoecious, meaning that there's male and female flowers on this thing. I can't really readily tell, just because they do that weird sort of fused anther thing sometimes, and this is just getting going actually, so probably just male flowers out right now regardless. Yeah, I'm not seeing any little ovaries at the bases of any of these. I'm guessing these are all the male. These are all the male flowers. They probably do male. I don't know for certain. I'm just guessing. I'm not a Cucurbitaceae expert. But yeah, look at this vining thing. Of course, you look at that leaf. Now that I know that it's a cucurbit, I can look at that leaf, feel the texture. It's like sandpaper. Yeah, it's a palmate leaf. It's a vine. It's got the tendrils. Where are the tendrils? It's got the tendrils. Yeah, obviously that's a cucurbit. That's pretty cool though. Not one I've covered, definitely not one I've seen in bloom. I've seen the fruits on the ground plenty of times, like in the winter, or in the fall, or sorry, in the spring. You can find the fruits readily, but these are everywhere. I could see how this could become, you know, all those white, you know, spikes of flowers kind of coming up erect from the stem there. All back there, that's all this species. It's been everywhere along the edge of this meadow. So I could see how that could potentially pose a problem if it were to get loose. These are also annuals, I think, so these just grow, I mean most cucurbits are, these will just grow one season, flower, do their thing, drop off a bunch of spiny cucumbers, and then just die. How fascinating. Okay, so we actually found a pretty easy way around to get to where we wanted to go. I got some beautiful cardinal flower going off behind me. I found some more Mikania down here, and I found a cool mint I'm not familiar with. Right there, just to give you an idea of what exactly we're standing on, because this is relevant, that's the Concord River right there. That's the historic, you know, blah, blah, blah. Many an important battle were fought, you know, along its course, yada, yada, yada. But what's more important than that is this incredible little patch of Lobelia cardinalis. And it's grown exactly where you'd expect it to grow. This is like the floodplain right here. In fact, what I'm standing on feels like walking over sponge. So this guy is you know, it's his speciality to kind of grow in these half-shaded, half-sunny riverbank communities. So he's doing exactly what you'd expect him to do. This is one that, unsurprisingly, it gets planted out a whole ton. So let's actually get up in here. I got to make this a little bit shorter. Okay, anyway, here's a close-up of that Lobelia. So, a few species of Lobelia in New England. This one probably being the showiest. Lobelia calmii is a beautiful one too. Lobelia inflata isn't really that showy. There's a handful of them. You get the idea. I don't have to get all into it right this second. So, God, I could spend an entire episode just talking about this plant, but I'll keep it down to the basics. So this is in the family Campanulaceae, same family as bellflower, of which it doesn't really closely resemble much at all, and you know, distant relative of sunflowers. And just like sunflowers, this is doing secondary pollen presentation. What is functionally happening here? Can we see that good? Can we see that well? Yeah, there you go. So you get your 5 petals, 3 down, 2 on the side. Here's your tube here with all the reproductive parts. This little white thing up at the top, that's actually the stigma. But what it's doing, just like a sunflower, individual sunflower floret, you see that gray part right there, center frame, I'll pull a little arrow? Yeah, that's the anther tube. And then what the stigma does is the anthers don't actually dispense the pollen directly. The stigma there catches the pollen and presents it on the female part. So then, you know, something comes in, say, I don't know, to pollinate the female part, or I don't know what they're doing. It's going to get the pollen off of the stigma first, go to another plant, pollinate one that's on a different phase, and then, you know, you see how the cycle continues. So, really interesting plant. I can't really justify spending a million hours talking about it right this second, but rest assured, wouldn't you know, another great one for a plant spotlight. But there's a couple other interesting things right around the corner from me, and I really got to get a good shot of this birch, get a good shot of the native hibiscus, and then we have to get out of here. No clue what this guy is. I thought it was sorrel for a split second, but then look at those opposite leaves. Is this some sort of tiny diminutive native Joe-pye weed? I'll take pictures and I'll figure it out. Yeah, see, there's sorrel with the clover looking leaves. Those little trifoliate leaves, that's an oxalis. Is this might be a Hypericum. I'm not too sure. Opposite leaves, definitely not an oxalis. Numerous little stamens in there if you can make them out. Cool calyx. Maybe it's some type of weird opposite leaved rose. Not sure. There's a mint over here I gotta get too. I'm not too sure on it. Again, one I'm just not too sure on. Very obviously a mint. Not one that I've seen before. Appears to be on its way out. Opposite leaves, those bilateral flowers, everything about it screams mint. Just don't know what it is. Maybe something interesting. I'll see if I can, you know, tease it out. Anyway. Yeah, it's some more Mikania running in the shade here. And let's get close to wrapping this up. Yeah, it's a real cool one. Likes it over here. You get a real idea of what those opposite leaves look like when it's in the shade. It's growing more compact here. Not bad. So New Englanders get a real stiffy for two plants in the hibiscus family, Malvaceae. Alcea rosea, the hollyhock, and Hibiscus syriacus, I think is what it is, the Rosa Sharon. I could be mistaken on the epithet for that one, but Rosa Sharon. But right in front of us here, we have Hibiscus moscheuatus, the actually native, hibiscus to New England. In fact, one of only two species, two genera in the entire family, Malvaceae, that is native to New England. The other one's Tilia americana, which is a tree that looks nothing like this. But I mean, why the hell are you planting stuff from China, from 4,000, however many thousand miles away that is, when this will grow for free right in your backyard, and in my opinion looks much more beautiful, and more importantly serves much a bigger benefit to the native pollinators, to hummingbirds, to whatever, than any of the other overseas species of hibiscus. I just it's such a foreign, alien idea when you actually stop and think about it. Can't really get in here because it's kind of a thicket, but you get the idea. That thing's the size of a dinner plate. They'll be going off all August, probably started a couple weeks ago. They die back in the winter, so if you really, you want that neat look, these are forbs. You can just cut them back as soon as they bloom. Keep it nice and neat over the winter if you give a shit for some reason about that. And I mean, they prefer wetlands in the wild, but I mean, as long as you keep your garden, pour a little bit of water on them a couple times a week, they'll do fine. This isn't the tropics, and it's not a desert. You get plenty of rain here in New England. It poured last night, and I mean, people do plant these in gardens. They do very, very well. You can get them in a number of varieties. This is obviously just a wild one. Get them in a number of varieties, come in a few different colors, different form factors. You can clip them and grow. If you clip them, they'll grow up as a shrub. Very versatile plant. Just give it a chance. You don't need to. I'm so tired of hearing, oh, you need a Rosa Sharon, you need a hollyhock. This is New England. It's not a. I don't care. I'll plant some native hibiscus. These are much cooler. Okay, we'll pretty much get close to wrapping stuff up here, but you know me. I am a birch apologist. I find birches intensely fascinating, and right here is one that's real interesting for basically one reason alone, frankly, and that's the fact that it is a warm weather. It's a warm habitat birch. Kind of butchered that, but you get the idea. It's a southern trending birch species. Now here in New England, we have no shortage of birches. Paper birch, Betula papyrifera, or papyrifera, however you want to pronounce it. Yellow birch, Betula allegheniensis. Sweet birch, Betula lenta. These are all very common, very abundant, and very important tree species to the region. But you get some extra ones. You get a lot of birches reaching the southern extent of their range up north or on mountaintops. Like you get Betula resinosa, some of these dwarfed alpine birches. Birches in general, Betulaceae is at its greatest diversity in cool temperate regions of the world. Your alders, your birches, your hazels. These are very cold tolerant plants. So now this plant, Betula nigra, the black birch or river birch, is a species that's very common across the southeast. It's actually only native to 3 counties in New England, all 3 of which, including this county that we're in now, Middlesex, line the Merrimack River Valley, and that is where they grow natively, is along the Concord River, Nashua River, and Merrimack River. There's probably some others in there, but those are the 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. Those are the 3 main ones when I think of things feeding the valley. Whatever, you get the point. So this is widely planted as an ornamental species, principally for that lovely sheathing bark, which I can give you a close-up on right now. But super, gives Betula papyrifera a run for its money with how much that sheathes. Obviously, very different color. Has this lovely, cream to tan color. Not a huge tree. Doesn't get as big as yellow birch, Betula allegheniensis. Of course, this is one that I could confuse with Betula allegheniensis if it wasn't for the fact that it also has highly distinctive, doubly serrate leaves. Well, actually all birches have doubly serrate leaves, or most birches have doubly serrate leaves. Just means you have a big tooth and then you have small teeth within the big teeth. Doubly serrate. Let's clear this up right now. Dentate is pointed outwards. Serrate is pointed in a direction, just so people get that, you know, straight. Serrulate would mean very small teeth. Dentulate would mean very small spikes. And then doubly serrate or doubly dentate just means spikes within spikes. Good to know, good terminology that you're going to need for the birch family. Does this do smell of wintergreen like black birch does, Betula lenta, or sweet birch? Yeah, sweet. This is why common names are stupid. Both Betula lenta and Betula nigra both get called black birch. Different species entirely. No real wintergreen smell if you rub the twigs. But anyway, that's about all I got. I got to go load up the rest of a pickup truck full of potted plants from my house and move that to my new house, which is exciting. But I would much rather be. I've been missing the botany. Lovely shot. Concord River. Again, floodplain tree. We are standing in an area that routinely sees flooding. This ground is wet and spongy. And as such, there's going to be certain stressors on the plants here. Not everything's going to be adapted to handle that. Betula lenta, or Betula nigra, is definitely adapted. I mean, Betula lenta probably grows in floodplains too, but that's not what we're talking about now, is it? Anyway, I'll leave you with that cool birch species right there, and we'll call it a day, I think. I wish I could communicate what it smells like to stand on a dike in between acres and acres of Nelumbo lutea, American water lotus. But sadly I can't. And there are certainly plenty of other plants contributing to the amazing fragrance that I am appreciating right now. Someday I'll just get my waders on and I'll just jump in there and I'll get close-up shots of what water lotus looks like. Really cool plant. Really, really cool plant. Proteales. Just like sycamore. Its only native relative is sycamore, believe it or not.